I'm Marley Bird and you're watching the Marley Bird YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add a crochet ribbing to a finished sweater. You can absolutely use crochet ribbing and add it to a finished hat or a blanket or whatever it is you want to do, but I just happen to be working on the Xanadu pullover, which is a free pattern available over at redheart.com, and this is the last component of the sweater. Once you have completed the sweater and seamed it up, it's time to finish the ribbing and add that on. So we're going to talk about that today. If you want to make your own Xanadu pullover, please click that link right there and you can go download the instructions and order all the materials you need right there at redheart.com. Take a look down here and I'm going to show you what we're doing today. First off, when you do a crochet ribbing, there's lots of different ways to do them. For this particular ribbing, I decided to do a double crochet row combined with 3 single crochet rows. And I worked in the back loop only. That way I get a really nice ribbed look and I get some different stitches. So it's not just plain Jane ribbings going along. I get some different height differences in the stitches going on right here. I love the way this looks, and that's why I chose to add it to this particular Xanadu pattern. Yes, I chose to do that because the Xanadu is my pattern. I am the designer of it. So once you've completed this ribbing, which the instructions are written right there on the directions over at redheart.com, you are finished up with the ribbing and it's time to add them to your finished sweater. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do. Now, so that you guys can see the contrast between the ribbing that I've completed and the finished sweater, I'm using a sweater that was already completed, purposely not with ribbing, because the crocheter did not want to have ribbing on hers. So I'm going to use her sample to show you how to add the ribbing. First thing you want to do is you want to have the fabric all finished up, and you want to make sure that you have it adjusted to the width, or the circumference of your sweater. So first thing you want to do is lay your ribbing down so that you are sure that it's going to go all the way around your sweater, okay? You can use anything you want to make sure that these stay in place. I actually really like the mini knit clips, and I'm going to pull those out real quick. Didn't plan on doing this, but you know what? Why not? Let's pull them out. I put them away, and I think I need them. So handy to have those on hand, right? Okay, so the mini knit clips, you can find them at redheart.com. They are a Susan Bates product, and they're super cool. I used them when I was seaming up the sweater as well. So if you watch that video, you know what these are. But they're just little clips, and they have a nice prong that comes out, and it connects up with the hole in the other side, and so it clips the pieces together without damaging the yarn. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to match up one side of my ribbing to the edge of my sweater. I'm going to match those up. Now I know that I need to make my other edge of the sweater go all the way across, right? I need to make sure it goes all the way around. So before I start pinning anything else, I'm going to bring it all the way around the sweater, and I'm going to bring it over here to this side and pin it here. This is the way I do it. If you decide that you have a better method of how to join this and make sure that your ribbing is the correct circumference for your sweater, please share that. I would love to know that in the comments. Okay, now once I have everything kind of matched up, I can begin to start stretching out the bottom of my sweater and matching it up to the ribbing that I have going on here. All right, so as I do that, I can go and I can use more clips and make sure that it all matches up, okay? So I would go around, I would do that first. One of the benefits of doing this is you can now take the ribbing and you could fold it down and kind of say, all right, that looks really good there, okay? I preferred to use a whip stitch join for this ribbing, but you don't have to do that. If you decide that the whip stitch join is a little bit too bulky for what you want, and you want to do a variation of the mattress stitch, or maybe a single crochet, or whatever your preferred join method is, you can absolutely do that. But for this video, I want to show you how to do the whip stitch join. So to do that, I'm going to grab my tapestry needle, which I have already threaded with some yarn, and I'm using a contrasting color so you can see what I'm doing here, okay? Now, ideally, you'd want to have a length of yarn that is long enough to go around the entire sweater. But if you are like, you know what, my arms are just not that long and I can't maneuver that length of yarn, so I'm going to use half the length to get to the other seam, and then I'll use another length to get to the back seam, you can absolutely do that. To begin, I like to go ahead and I'm going to start on the inside of the sweater here. So I'm on the inside of the sweater and I'm looking at the outside of the ribbing. And I'm just going to do a simple join, okay? Meaning I'm just putting my yarn in and I'm just kind of doing a simple, it's not a knot, but it's just back and forth, okay? Just went one over one and over one. And that's all you're going to do the whole way. You just match up the bottom of the sweater to the bottom of your ribbing and join them together as even as possible. That's what these clips are for, all along, picking one edge of the sweater, one edge of the ribbing, and joining them together. Now ideally you would be using the same color yarn as you used on your ribbing and your sweater, so this will be virtually invisible using the same color of yarn. It will not show up like this bright pink does, but the pink really, I think, really helps you see here on camera what we're doing. So I'm pulling this through, gonna make sure I'm grabbing both, and then once I get down here a little ways, I'm gonna flip it over so you can see what I've done. So you can see how the join is. Now if I'm smart and I'm just going along the edge, grabbing one strand and one strand, or maybe going through the stitch, not the yarn, but going through the stitch, I can keep this as least amount of bulk as possible out of the ribbing, out of the bottom of my sweater. Not many of us need extra bulk around the bottoms of our sweater, do we? I know I don't. Okay. So I've worked a lot of little ways. I've done a little whip stitch. And so if I were to flip this over, I can see my join right there. Now you can obviously see the pink is showing through, but if you use the same color yarn, it's not going to be showing through that bad at all. It's going to look just fine. Again, you don't have to use this method. You can use any method you want to join, but at least now you know how to join. Now I do want to mention there's a reason I started my join at the side seam. The reason is when you are wearing the sweater, you really don't want the seam in the back half, right down the back, you know, your back half, in the middle of your back half, think about it. It's just not going to be look very good. Whereas if you have this seam, because you're going to join your ribbing together, right here on the side seam, it just looks more visually appealing. Also, if you decide, you know what, I want to put some decorative buttons down my ribbing on that side, this is a good place to put it. So you could make this fold down like this, and you could decide to do some decorative ribbing along here before you join your ribbing together. Does that make sense? Not decorative ribbing, decorative buttons. Okay? When you're all complete, you can also join together the ribbing itself with the whip stitch. You just put those together and join them together so you have a seamless rib going on for the bottom of your sweater. Now I will mention that the bottom ribbing of the Xanadu pullover is very long. This is the actual ribbing for the bottom of the pullover, and it's very wide. I mean, it's 35 stitches wide. If you decide you don't want 35 stitches wide, you want a half of that, you can absolutely do that. The instructions and the number count that you use for your ribbing is completely adjustable to your needs. So make the sweater pattern really fit your needs. What's the point of crocheting a sweater if it's not going to be exactly what you want, right? Now you know how to make the Xanadu pullover from start to finish, whether you are at the very beginning and you want to go check out how to read the pattern and how to choose the right sizes for you, how to seam up the sweater, or how to add in your ribbing. I think that you could tackle this sweater pattern and really make something that looks great either on you or for somebody in your life. I hope that you will take the time to go check out redheart.com and all the wonderful patterns they have available over there, because this sweater pattern is not the only one. There are many patterns over there at Red Heart, designed by fabulous designers, and so I hope you will go check those out. Until next time, you guys, I'm Marley Bird, and this is the Marley Bird YouTube channel. Thanks.